I found this buried about 3 inches under some shallow dirt in my yard. Nothing else was around it. Key is for scale. It's some sort of metal and is extremely heavy. Any guesses? House was built in the 40s, so I assume some part of the foundation or construction they left over. It was about 12 feet away from my actual house. Size 7 5/8 inches long by 5 5/8 inches wide by 2 inches tall. Weighs probably 20 pounds or more. Extremely dense. Any idea what this is made for? It must be lead. No clue why I have a random lead bar in my yard. Found it today in a wheat field close to Kutna Hora in Czech Republic. A small, approximately 6 centimeters tall glass bottle with a piece of rubber surrounded by a metal ring where the cap would normally be with some symbols at the bottom. A 6 above a wide bar, an S left to the bar and an A to the right of the bar, a star and 80 liters at the bottom of the bar. The piece of rubber and metal ring cannot be removed, and as such I believe that it was supposed to be pierced by a syringe and that the bottle was a single-use storage for medical samples. And the star appears to be a communist star. What is this thing? It's an old medicine vial. Without the label, it's impossible to tell what kind of medicine it held without actually opening it up and testing it. But you're right that the stopper at the top was meant to be pierced with a syringe in order for the medicine to be withdrawn. We still use similar vials today. The marks on the bottom are manufacturer's marks. The 6/A/A refer to mold or customer number, or possibly the type of glass used. As for the 80s, it's hard to tell from the pictures. It could either be an 80 with a thermometer beside it, in which case it's a temperature guide for the glass itself, or it's an indicator of volume using a unit I'm not familiar with. This looks like an about 80 milliliter vial. My son has pica. He searches for and tears apart and eats things he shouldn't. So I'm kind of nervous that I found this next to where he was sitting. The only toy he was playing with was a soccer ball. It is very lightweight and smaller than a dime. What is this thing? It was from an LOL surprise doll, specifically their plastic hair bun. This was the piece that attached it. I found this glass set on the attic. Figurines filled with some liquid. Whole box weight scale 500 grams material glass. Size 30 by 15 centimeters approximately. Nothing is written on the box itself. Any ideas what this thing is? Since the long glass stick looks like it could be used as a drink stir and the figures look to be penguins, I would guess they are very fancy permanent ice cubes. Found in a thrift shop, very light, wooden box that holds 6 about 3 centimeters tall. Wooden circles with plastic-ish feeling circle decorations in the middle of them. The price was about €4 and it said set, no other marking, writing or symbols anywhere. I think it was made of bamboo or other very light material. Google Lens says it's a tic-tac-toe box, but that can't be since there are no X's. Anyone know what this is? This is napkin rings. This brass item from shipwreck in New England. I found on diving, it is very old and had become part of the bottom in some concretion. Once chiseled free, it was spinning inside the iron tube, pipe it was in, and held in place at the rear with a keyed brass rod, solid, and held in place with the pin in the picture. Whole thing is very heavy, solid, high-quality brass. Any ideas? This is mushroom vent. I found this in the garage of my late father-in-law, who was involved in working on motorcycles, cars, and semi-trucks. It's a small metal piece, weighing a few ounces and measuring 2.5 inches in length. Do you have any ideas about what it might be? This is throttle lever linkage from a 1949s or 1952. What is this cylindrical metal machine part that contains a rotor-like component responsible for driving a small shaft? The casing is quite heavy and appears to be made of a material similar to brass or copper, as indicated by its green patina. The inner rotor seems to be made of plastic, as it does not feel metallic. Instead of spinning, the rotor wobbles or pivots, which in turn causes the small shaft on the side to rotate. However, the shaft is broken off. When I cup my hand and blow into the openings, it easily causes the rotor to wobble. The outer ring is stamped with a Trident logo and the number 375, but I don't see any other logos or text. My initial thought is that it might be a component of a fluid or gas meter, given the relatively small and fragile nature of the shaft. This item was found in an Airbnb, which was otherwise filled with various musical instrument-related items, leading me to wonder if it could be a part of an organ. However, my searches have not yielded any results. Any ideas? It's the water meter measuring chamber to a Neptune meter co-water meter. It has the Trident symbol. I found a metal object in the water at Fiesta Island. What is the purpose of this statue? Why was it thrown into the ocean? Should I be concerned about any negative energy for taking it out of the water? This is a figure of the Santerian Orisha Olokun. One hand holds a snake, the other a mask. They typically come off because these figures are kept in water 100% of the time. If this found this in the ocean, then this is more evidence towards that, as Olokun is tied to the ocean. This was probably disposed of ritualistically and replaced with a new one. What is this metal twisted rod holder? It was found at the estate sale of a dentist and jewelry cutter who had a variety of truly interesting items. I believe the rod is intended to fit through the handle, but it's too short for that. The inner end of the rod is pointed, and it has both round and square sections. Unfortunately, I couldn't manage to untwist the clasp. Any ideas? It is a jeweler's hand vise. Maybe the rod is just to hold the screw from turning while you tighten the vise.